Greetings, JDI for Shieldrum Records. Today's tutorial is about building a reggae dub track from scratch. So the tutorial may be a bit long and a bit slow because English is not my mother language, but I do this for some brothers who see my French tutorials and would like to know more. So I will use Ableton Live to do it from the building of a rhythm or a track, reggae track, to the mixing of it live and direct with the MIDI controller. Because the essence of dub music is the mix live and direct. So even if you don't have analog equipment, just the MIDI controller is in-house because you can mix it live and record your session like this, okay? So first, we choose a tempo. For this one, I choose 150. So you just click on the tempo and type 150. Then I will create a MIDI track and drop a piano sound on this MIDI track. So I use the instrument I already prepared for me here at the studio. So you can use whatever you want. If you want to know the one I open here, it's M1 from Korg, a very good plugin, very, very good. An old keyboard, well-renowned keyboard and efficient sound, very efficient. Okay, it's not something you want a wood piano, something extravagant. No, it's just a piano and sound as we ask it. Okay, so you are on the track. I already choose my chords. It will be like D minor and A minor in it. So it's more simple to go through the tutorial. Okay, so let's go. You can light the metronome so you get an idea of the time. So here my tips always been to choose a tempo that is a double of my tempo. Okay, so my real tempo is 75 here, but I write it 150. So the metronome will give me all the 8 notes, okay? It will go like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and 1 and... Okay, so it's better time mark for you to play the piano. The skunk piano come at the 8th note in reggae, okay? So you will understand when you hear the drum, but I will hear the count, the pre-count of 2 measures. You can select it, continue, 2 bars, okay? And then I start the piano in it. Okay, let's go into this MIDI file and fix the little mistake. So you can press this fold button and it will show you only the note you have played, okay? For example, when you see one note alone in the whole thing, is most of the time one note you didn't want to play, but you hit it with your finger on the piano. So let's hear. Another mistake here. Okay, so I can erase it. we can see we have two chord structure. The one more classic here, just hitting the 8th note. And at the end, another one with more piano small notes in it, okay? So we will define two structure and we'll keep the second one for another part of the arrangement. So I can change this color so I know it's another kind of piano. Okay, and add something at the end to close the measure. The bar. Okay. So select everything. Control J will consolidate. Erase a small mistake. And then we will quantize it. So to quantize, I use the grid zoom. And I will zoom this grid till I have one line in front of each note. Okay. Right click, quantize setting. And to conserve this human touch of not hitting every note at the same time straight like we do a machine, we will not quantize it 100%. We will go more for 60 or 50%. 60 is a good start, and you quantize to the current grid. That's why I was moving my zoom to get one little bar grid in front of each of my notes. Okay, so I will quantize according to the grid, current grid. Okay. So that way it quantizes, but as you see, it don't quantize on the grid precisely, not all the notes starting at the same point. But I guess we can do another quantize over it. It will not put the notes straight because we are staying at 60%, so it will make them come a bit closer, simply. Okay. Okay. So this one will be the part 2 for the piano. Let's now quantize the part 1. Did go too far? Okay, zoom to get one line in front of each note. Quantize. We can go a bit more. And don't go and correct everything. This is not the way of going with the mouse and writing note by note everything straight. Just the purpose of the tutorial of today is to play live and try to fix a little mistake. So you just go with your ears. And sometimes the quantize go a bit too hard. So I just move notes as I hear them. Okay. To move notes out of the grid, you have to press Alt at the same time you move, so you can move with no grid in the back. Okay. So I do this sometimes just to slow down the note or speed them up. So I have my part 1 structure. So Control R to rename. Let's call part 1. Okay, for example, this part 2 can come into the intro. Oh yes, one thing we can do is to create a MIDI track that will stay empty. It's just to put the structure. So you do a MIDI track, you create a MIDI track, you set up input and output on no. So it just, what I want to do is select a portion here, for example. Control-Shift-M will create an empty MIDI track. You rename it with Control-R and call it intro. So this thing is just for us to see where we are into the track. So let's say the intro will be here. And remove this first note. Okay. Okay. Now this part 1 is okay, we can consolidate it. So with Ctrl J or right click, consolidate, it will make one MIDI clip and we can put it in loop position. That way we just drag and we have it for the length we want. We'll see the part 2 when it comes back into the arrangement. Now we can loop around it and create another MIDI track, right click, MIDI track, and we will drop a bass instrument. So let's go for this one. Okay. Just want to open the filter. Okay, to have a bit of noise of it. Yeah, so it's Serum, a patch I prepared with some of my wavetable. So no matter what bass sound, even Ableton got good one. So let's use this one. So we'll find the bass according to those chords. E minor and A minor. So let's go for this one, for example. Okay, we will fix the note with the quantize. Better now. You check for the mistakes and the note length. Now we will hear the note length. This one is a bit short. Okay, I could select a shorter loop as I did before, but I don't like it that much because I want some movement in it and even some little mistake, but little, just something. Okay, I think that's okay. I was filling the gap for the note that was shorter. Now, Ctrl J to consolidate this clip. You hit loop, And now you can loop it forever. Okay, in reggae, most of the time we have a mute guitar that will follow the bass line, follow the bass or play with it, or the two. And so when I say follow, it will play the same partition than the bass. So we will take a mute guitar instrument, something I build here, and you can take everything, even digital sound, but like a plug sound, something very brief to give us that kind of sound. Listen. Okay, that way we also hear the bass in the mid-range frequency. So the tip here, if you want to go on the lower octave, you select all your notes, selecting the piano note here, and shift arrow, bottom arrow, and it will drop it on the lower octave. Okay. This will not be the best if you have a small laptop, so I will leave it for the moment on the higher octave to build the drum and everything, so we hear it. Okay, we got the piano, the bass, the mute guitar. Let me organize all this. Now, what we can add is the drum, for example. So we're not obliged to do so, but I will freeze this bass. So I'll get it in audio and have more CPU for the next plugin. And let's do the same for the piano. So even if I have to play again this instrument, they are already into my browser, ready to be played, so it's not a problem. Okay, so the small thing for the piano, as you can see here, so the tail goes to the next 8th note. So when I loop the piano, I go to the 8th note, and at the start, I go from the 8th note, I mean the first conch. Okay. That way I just have to duplicate this one, and I will have no gap. Most of the time we would duplicate from here, but each time we will have a gap. So that way you also have the tail of the previous note. Perhaps I will go back for some action, because what I see, okay, what I see, it is that I didn't save a low bass, I just saved the mid bass, so this one. And I want also save in audio a lower octave bass, like this one. Okay. So I will prepare it in advance. Go like this. This is the same part because this is a loop. So I put this loop here. I select everything and drop it. Okay, that way we have the two bass. And we could also, perhaps it will be useful to export also a loop at the upper range. So we got this one, and this one. So it will cover our needs when we will arrange. Okay. So let's go to freeze it now again. Okay, flatten. Let's do the same for the piano. I will remove the part I don't need. Okay, the piano loop is not that long, so we can export just this one with the intro. Flatten, and we get it in audio. Okay. This one is a higher octave. I don't want it for the moment. This one we will take for the intro here, and then the low bass at the start of the track. The same trick with the mute guitar. So let's put them an octave higher and let it come later. Okay, bass also. So let's say our intro start here. Okay, so to loop the piano loop in reggae, most of the time, as it's on the 8th note, we have the tail of the piano, which continue out of the bar. So the best technique is just to keep 1/8 portion at the end, so you get the tail of this last note. Okay, and then for the start of the loop, you do the same thing. You start at the 8th note. So now I can duplicate it or consolidate and put it in loop mode, but we will duplicate for this time, like this, 3, 4. Okay. This one we can crop also. And put it in loop for the bass. And why not let the low bass come later? Crop this one too. I crop clip or consolidate them so they become a new one just from this length. So I can manipulate it or put it in loop mode. Whatever I want to do, I can do now. What I can do here. Okay. So we keep it later for the sub coming into the arrangement. We have our mute or bass or piano. So I just copy and paste some variation on the piano. Okay, now I can tell to the bass to come back on this lower octave, upper octave, excuse me, come back into the arrangement. For example, here, but just for the half of the measure, and then we come back into the sub bass register. Okay. And I will duplicate this. Let's say 3 minutes and 30. It's okay for the end of the track. of the quick track. We are still waiting for the drum, but yeah, it comes. Last trick, as I say, bass and mute guitar or plug sound will follow the same melody, but as the guitar is something we can play more faster, let's see what we can do in it to make it more like a guitar play. Like for example, tugodong kong at some start of note, tugodong kong. So for this, for example, I just zoom in. I want it here, like something like that. Yes, something like that. Tukodong. For you to get the idea of adding some note into the melody of the guitar. Same way, I will choose some place where the guitar will play the upper octave. So I duplicate the part where I correct my notes. So everything is with no effect for the moment. We'll see the effect everything process after this. And let's go, we export also the mute guitar, aka freeze the track and render it into audio. Okay, we can give it a save, not to forget, and call this first part verse. So now we will add a MIDI track and put a drum kit on it, pre-count, 2 bar, and here we go. Try to drop it live and direct. Ctrl L, loop it. Okay, now we got a start of idea. We'll stay on it and try to add the hi-hat and something will make it groove. When you want to record again into a clip, you have to select here this little plus. So it will not erase what you have inside, but just overdub something in it. So we have our count in, it's okay. So let's try this last one. Okay. Let's focus on the drum. And quantize this hi-hat. And I will replace some of them with open hi-hat. Okay. Not this one, the in between. Then I can select a whole region and duplicate this open hi-hat each time I want it. At the end, we have a small gap. Let's see how it goes. Okay. Okay, this one will do the trick. And I also, here we got a timbal sound, so we can add some timbal. Okay, little addition. Quantize it. Rock the volume. Not full. We can keep this element in the drum loop and we'll see if we erase it or keep it. Okay, so we can see it can be good, but it's like hitting the hi-hat swing. So I put it in the back of the mix in the drum bass, okay? Just go with this one. So Ctrl J will consolidate your MIDI also. So this one will be my drum loop, okay? And let's make just one short break. It will help us for the start of the song. So even for the start, I will do something like this. Duplicate this. Okay, and we will start a break here. For example, okay. Let's take everything here. Okay, that way we can also quantize, but very smoothly. And here, for example, with this hi-hat, we can add the kick. And put a snare after it with a cymbal. Why not like this? I was just dropping some ideas. Okay. Let's see with the other instrument. You can even remove this bass from the start. Let's come back to our first idea. When you build a track, some of the drum rolls you will add, like this one I put into the intro. You can build several ones according to the song structure, okay? But for this time, we will keep it simple so we can go on the next step of this mix. So I will just loop this drum. It will be announced to be dubbed, okay? And use the same drum roll. So I use this one. But as I say, it's like you're using several drum roll. Each time you see this, it's like a different drum. Okay, for example, we can put it here and make it fit. So for example, generally, when you go into a break, when you play drum, you will open the hi-hat a little before you enter the drum break. Here, for example. Okay, like this. This one is erased, so we don't need it. We can even put the open hi-hat a bit before. Okay. Same way for my structure, I don't go for something logical because I have no song on it for the moment. So I just do as I feel now. Okay, so perhaps the last one. Okay, that's nice. Just to warn, this is the end, but we'll not go deeper in it. So now we have the rhythm. I mean, someone could sing on it for the moment, intro. And we will add some lead melody and some other stuff to make it dub then.